My only knowledge of Brazil was that they drank a lot of coffee and Pelé lives here. I think I've got a lot to learn. Brazil is the 5th largest country in the world and covers half of South America. Its language is Portuguese, and with 150 million people, it's the largest Catholic nation on Earth. The world's biggest jungle, the Amazon, fills nearly half the country. I'm travelling through the historic northeast, from Salvador, following the coast to the mouth of the mighty Amazon. Salvador was founded by the Portuguese in 1501 and remained Brazil's most important city for the next 300 years. Sugar, then tobacco, gold and diamonds provided Salvador with enormous wealth, and after Lisbon it became the most important city in the Portuguese Empire. But when the sugar industry collapsed, it fell into decline, and in 1763 the capital moved to Rio. Not many people speak English in Brazil, so it definitely helps if you can pick up a few words of Portuguese.
Quero coto, por favor.
Sim, solteiro?
Pessoa.
O preço
Cada costa.
é $20.
A room in a hotel in Salvador's Pelourinho district will cost you about $10 a night, including breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah, tá bom. Obrigado. You got a key? Salvador is called the African soul of Brazil. Nearly half the population is black, descendants of 3.5 million African slaves. Pelourinho actually means whipping post, and it was the area where the slaves were tortured and sold. It was colonial Brazil's slave labour that worked the industries that made Salvador rich.
Esse de amigo, baiano, saúde. Conta?
Not really me, I don't
Esse
think.
souvenir Bahia.
Yeah, but
Yes.
you've got to wear them though, haven't you?
Souvenir Bahia.
These street kids are drumming for money. One of the first things you notice in any Brazilian city is the number of street kids. Half the population is under 20 and there's no welfare system. The northeast is the poorest part of Brazil and the cities have the worst social problems. Brazilians are united by a passion for music, especially rhythm. Just another Tuesday night, but the whole town seemed to be having a party. Olodum is a famous local band and one of Brazil's best percussion groups. Once a week they have an open rehearsal and everyone in the town turns out to dance. coffee sellers are out early on the streets of Pellerino.
Un caffè?
Yeah?
Obrigado. Is it good? Bon?
Leite.
No one does anything here without a few cups. Vendors are everywhere, selling it strong, sweet, and in small, potent doses. For breakfast, I tried traditional Bahian food, which was less familiar. A carajé is made from peeled white beans, mashed in salt and onions, and then fried in a strong oil.
Acarajé. Por favor. Was?
The filling is called vatapá and is made with manioc paste, nuts, and smoked shrimps.
Everything, I think.
Manioc is a root vegetable and Brazil's staple food. Raw, it's poisonous, and it's also used to make laundry starch. There were no apparent side effects.
No banana. Isa lama. Bela. Ué. Isa lama ko. Baba.
This abandoned dungeon once served as a holding area for thousands of slaves. It is now just a disused area underneath the city market and not on the main tourist trail. The first slaves were shipped to Salvador in 1538, and for the next 3 centuries they worked the sugar and tobacco plantations, and then the gold and diamond mines. Nearly 40% of all slaves sent to the New World ended up in Brazil, and it wasn't until 1888, 80 years after Britain and 25 years behind the United States, that slavery was abolished here. Out on the beach, I found a piece of slave culture still very much alive and kicking. This is capoeira. It's a combination of martial arts and acrobatics. Capoeira was developed by slaves to fight their oppressors. Terrified owners banned it, so capoeira had to be disguised as a dance. The ban was only lifted in the 1920s. The hand clapping and plucking of a sort of musical fishing rod was used to signal the boss's approach. Today it's part fight, part game, part ballet. I've done a bit of martial arts in my time, so I thought I'd have a go. I don't think that they were too impressed with my technique.
Next Sunday, yeah? I'll be there.
In colonial Brazil, slaves were forced to convert to Catholicism. The Portuguese constructed over 300 churches in Salvador alone, and it was the slaves who built them. São Francisco is one of the most ornate. They use gold leaf like wallpaper. The cherubs have had all their private parts cut off.
No?
No.
Cut. Here. Off.
Slaves carved them with disfigured faces and grotesque organs, and embarrassed priests had to chisel away the offending pieces.
This one? Huh? Ah, let's left one on.
In Brazil, as in many Catholic countries, Christianity and local superstitions have intertwined.
What are they for?
Muy barato. Presente. Presente.
These fitters, or bracelets, are lucky
Give me good
charms.
luck then.
Presente.
Once the bracelet has been tied on, it has to fall off through wear and tear, otherwise your 3 wishes won't come true.
Obrigado.
The Church of Bonfim is famous for its miraculous healing powers. These casts make it look like some gigantic doll's hospital. Sufferers leave replicas of the part of their body which is sick and pray for it to be cured. Photos and letters line the walls of this room of miracles. They are from people who can't afford body part replicas. To get to the interior of the Bahia state, you have to first travel by boat across the wide Bay of Salvador to Itaparica. Then it's inland to Brazil's newest national park near Lençóis. From there, I loop through cowboy country back to Salvador. At night, in the towns and villages dotting the Bay of Salvador, people worship an ancient African religion called Candomblé.
It's almost pitch dark. It sounds like we're going to get attacked by wild frogs, but we're going to press on and see what happens tonight. It's all a bit mysterious, but blimey. 10-minute walk turned into about an hour. I think that's Brazil. Yes, we're here. At long last.
Brought to Brazil by the slaves and banned until as recently as 1970, Candomblé is one of the fastest growing and most popular cults in Brazil. Ceremonies are conducted in the Yoruba language of West Africa and differ only slightly from those held in Africa today. Literally speaking, Candomblé means a dance in honour of the gods, in this case the African god Zangu. Food is passed out as the dance usually continues all night. Candomblé is a call to the spirits, and as the spirit enters the body, it falls into a state of trance. After several hours, a change of clothes represents a connection with the spirits. The dancers return to dance to even more complex and symbolic rhythms. Itaparica is classic small-town Brazil. At the bus station, I had my boots shined by at least 15 children.
Shaving those boots, can I? Look at them. Put some on my legs. Keeps the mosquitoes off as well. Hey, you, on my legs, yeah? Come on, rub it in, rub it in. So how many is that? 8 people I've got to pay.
Brazil has an excellent bus network. The buses are generally fast, cheap and on time. But board early, because when they're full, it can get really uncomfortable. Lençóis is a colonial town founded in 1844 when diamonds were discovered in the surrounding countryside. Park manager Hui Funk campaigned for years to get this area recognised as a national park.
I've been here almost 20 years. Came down with the U.S. Peace Corps. Originally, I was actually trying to go to Africa.
Yeah.
But they didn't have a space there for me, so I came to Brazil without really even knowing anything about the country.
Right.
And I liked it. I liked it so much here that I sold my plane ticket home and stayed on.
So what else do you do apart from showing people like me around?
Well, I work as a guide. I work with the mayor's office in the Department of the Environment.
Yeah.
And I do whatever I can to stay alive.
The water looks like brown ale.
It's more like tea than ale, because it's plant material dissolved in the water.
What's that man doing there?
That's a diamond miner. He's an old-timer doing it manually.
Right. Is there a lot of diamonds in this river?
Yeah, there used to be a lot of diamonds, but there aren't anymore.
So you don't think he's found anything?
Let me ask him.
Right.
Hey, senhor! Hey! Já achou alguma coisa?
Is that a big no, eh?
Yeah, I think you can say that's a pretty clear no.
Yeah.
These guys they're poor miners. They'll work here because they don't have much else to do. He'll usually go home without finding anything. Sometimes they'll find a diamond that they can, pay the rice and beans a day. But then again, the people here, everyone has a refrigerator in the house or a stove or a TV, because every so often they find a stone.
Right.
And then they can sell it and pay off their debts and have a bit left over. It's like playing the slot machines. Sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't.
The dusty interior of the northeast is known as the Sertão or Backlands. It's a bit hot in there, isn't it? For me anyway, yeah? You're laughing at my white skin. It is often hit by droughts, which sometimes last for years, and it makes it impossible to farm crops. In the Satal, the economy is based around cattle ranching, which was established to feed the workers on the giant sugar plantations. Life in the Satal is often characterised as bleak and sometimes brutal. Although cattle ranching has become an important industry, this is still one of the poorest parts of the northeast. But this is still Brazil, where festivals and celebrations are a way of life. And given the importance of cattle, it's hardly surprising that they have their own festival. $450 air pass allows you 5 flights in 3 weeks. My destination, Recife, Brazil's 4th largest city. In colonial times, it was a port for the sugar industry. It's still a major entry point to the country, but now it's best known as a beach resort. Although the city beaches like Boa Viagem can get polluted and overcrowded, the coast north and south of Recife has some excellent beaches, which are protected by coral reefs, ensuring calm seas. Like beach life, football in Brazil can be a national obsession, a common denominator which brings all walks of life together. People play everywhere. Little wonder Brazil has won more World Cups than any other country. They are good, but I could still show them a thing or two. If you're a fan, try and catch a professional game. There's as much entertainment off the pitch as on it, and Brazilian football fans have a reputation for being amongst the most exuberant you'll find anywhere. Not surprisingly, football players, especially the top ones, enjoy godlike status in Brazil. They call him O Rei, or the King, and even years after retiring, Pelé remains the world's most famous footballer. Awarded the title Athlete of the Century, he's the most popular man in Brazil. This was Pelé's 3rd wedding, and the paparazzi, the fans and I were all there to witness it. So are you going to the sit down then?
Oh, I'm not dressed for it.
Aren't you?
No.
You can quickly whip home and put something on.
Yeah, just whip up some gear, eh?
Yeah, he said I'm alright going in there.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm just going to stroll in. On the beach, later that night, a group of British medical students had some advice on what not to do in Brazil.
That English generous spirit and lent some poor boy a surfboard that was worth $90.
And we thought after about 4 hours that it probably wasn't coming back.
Didn't you keep your eye on him in the water, or?
Well,
We did try.
We did for a bit, but he waved, gave his thumbs up, and we said, oh,
He was a
great.
bit better at it than we were as well.
No wonder he's looking very happy.
So, have you got any advice for me then?
The one, the
Jigger.
jiggers.
Jiggers.
Fleas.
Are they in your...
If you walk
Bury
along
your
the
feet,
sand
yeah.
bare feet, they'll burrow into your feet, and then you'll just think it's a boil that's come up on your foot or something. But if you look very carefully, it's moving. And if you put alcohol on top of it, the head will come to the surface, and you have to spear it with a needle and pull it out.
So what final tips did they have for me?
Don't lend your surfboard to anyone who comes along.
If anyone tells you it's too dangerous, don't believe. I think you just need common sense.
Yeah.
And if you're sort of a compassionate person, make sure
Take
you've got
a
a bit of loose change on you, because there's so many little children
Yeah.
all over the place trying to sell you something.
These street kids were selling whistles that sounded like a strangled cat, which they pretended to be beating inside a cardboard box. On the road again, lured by tales of quieter, unspoiled beaches and a carnival in Fortaleza. There are plenty of willing guides to take you through the well-worn paths at the sandhills of Morro Branco. There you are, you little scammy. Different coloured sands are collected here to make intricate pictures. All the colours except blue are found here.
Not my cup of tea, but someone back home will like one. Get a small one. Yeah. ¿Cuánto cuesta? What? Count? Obrigada. Thanks, Marcos.
Nearby are the famous lace makers of Parana. Lace making was brought over in the colonial times from Portugal. A tablecloth can take up to a year to make. Fortaleza was my first carnival, Brazilian style. They say you haven't seen Brazil unless you've seen a carnival, and it doesn't matter where. Carnival proper is a national celebration in February, which precedes the Catholic restrictions of Lent. But every town soon comes alive again with its own local carnival. The carnivals feature trio electricas, their giant stages on the back of moving trucks, complete with piles of speakers, musicians, and a dancing crowd behind. Cachaça is a high-proof and very cheap sugarcane alcohol produced throughout the country. Made into Caparina with lime, sugar and crushed ice, it is delicious but dangerous. It can do serious damage to your stomach and produces a lethal hangover. can get together with a few other people, you can charter a small plane. The coastline around the fishing village of Jericoacoara is an isolated and little visited part of the northeast. The onboard service was interesting. Coffee and sandwiches made by the co-pilot. It's not easy to get to Jericoacoara. You first have to fly to a small place called Kamanchin and then continue by road. The retired air traffic controller and his family's home is the airport.
Obrigado. Obrigado. Turbulence. Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Hola.
Bem.
I wasn't sure what to expect when he wanted me to meet a friend.
Is that for me?
It was a boa, and they can get particularly large in these parts.
Oh, yeah, man. Gosh. Oh. I'm going to squeeze it back. Oh, no way. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that wants me. That wants to squeeze me. I can feel it.
Boas crush their victims, and this one seemed to want me bad.
No way, Jose. No, it's got big teeth. It's got big teeth.
Bye now. Ciao. Ciao. When the road to Jericoacoara ends, there is still 4 hours to go by four-wheel drive across sand dunes and marshes. The best time to visit is from July to November. I'm here in March, when it can be a treacherous journey. Travellers only started visiting this isolated fishing village 10 years ago, and then they stayed in homes of the local fishermen because there were no hotels.
Passei dormir aqui, por favor. Yeah? What? Is this your house?
At first, the villagers were afraid of these strangers with packs on their back.
Obrigado. Ciao.
After a night's fishing, the boats returned to sell their catch on the beach. In a place this isolated, the population is fairly reliant on what they can get from the sea. Many travellers still stay with local families, even though there are now some hotels. It's incredibly cheap, a few dollars a day, but also extremely basic. Don't count on much fresh water or electricity. A couple of tips: bring a hammock or a bedroll to make sleeping a little more comfortable.
No, here, and then slit up. Here? No, you'll have to start me off, I'm afraid. Ah, okay. Cut me out.
Oh, no.
No?
Só até aqui.
Got to stop there.
Olha lá aí, Zé, cruzou.
Look.
Ninguém entende.
No. Whoops. Excuse fingers. Go on. Oh, it's nice, this one. Oh, I can't eat all that fish. Let someone else have some. To get away from Jericoacoara, you have to return the way you came, over the sand dunes. Northwest of Jericoacoara is the island of Marajo. Nearby is the port city of Belém, gateway to my final destination, the Amazon jungle. Marajo sits right on the equator at the mouth of the Amazon and is one of the world's largest fluvial islands, bigger than Switzerland. Each wet season, the Amazon floods this area and whole towns are submerged. Marajo is the only place in Brazil you'll find buffalo in large numbers. Flooding gets so bad here that buffalo dive underwater for food. They're used for their meat, milk and labour. Tacacá, por favor. Tacacá is an Indian dish sold on every street corner in the afternoons. Luckily, it tastes better than it looks. It's made mainly from different forms of manioc, with jambo leaves, dried shrimps and lots of chilli. Obrigado. Oh. Sitting at the mouth of the world's largest river, Belém is the main port for ships that ply the Amazon. From here you can travel by boat all the way to Peru. It's one of the wettest cities in the world and acts as a gateway to the people and the ways of the rainforest. The vastness of the Amazon basin means that biologists are able to identify only 70% of the fish sold in the famous Vero Peso market. The market opens every day, and it seems that you can buy almost anything here, including this sad three-toed sloth. Monkeys' heads, bottled snakes, tooth and claws all contain mysterious powers. Just minutes away from the city, the jungle begins. These Amazon basin rivers, in which a fifth of the world's freshwater flows, lead to the heart of the rainforest. Even today, many tributaries remain unexplored.
I was heading into the jungle with a guide called Tony.
Yeah.
The size of this ant.
That's a beauty. Does it bite?
Not this one. It's not a very aggressive ant.
Isn't it?
No. We have some
Looks
other
a bit
types.
aggressive to me.
It doesn't speak English, you know.
Doesn't it? Do you get bigger ants than that?
Yeah, we have some other types, like brown ones. The people, they eat their backs. The local people.
Lovely.
This one is very common around here. Those are types of things you find in this upland rainforest.
The people here live on what the river and the forest deliver them.
To the right. You have to hold the trunk with your feet.
I wanted to give it a go.
Just jump. Yeah, like this, jump.
Oh, yeah.
Jump, that's it.
Oh.
Bravo. Now you go up to the top.
Yeah.
Get a fruit for us.
We'll buy the fruit from the market, yeah?
After a month in Brazil, I was beginning to go native.
It's burning my feet.
Okay.
Woo.
You just stay here. Let me see your food.
About wearing shoes, I think you were right, actually. After failing miserably to get the fruit, we went in search of the famous Brazil nut.
Oh, where's my hammock?
Junior, pode cortar aqui para ele, para mostrar? Só mostra. He's gonna open for us.
Right. Where's Junior from?
He lives here. He's the jungle boy.
Yeah.
Depends on the size of the shell. Like we 15 or 20 or 25 nuts.
Yeah.
Esta boa.
Yeah.
When we take them out of the shell like this, they're real fresh, they're milky. See them? Very white.
Like coconut.
Very juicy. Yeah, like a coconut. Wanna try it?
Yeah.
How do you like it? Good.
I'll eat it all up. Yeah.
Do you remember Christmas time?
Oh, I can smell that Christmas tree now.
Doesn't taste the same.
In the Amazon, the weather changes very quickly, and you can suddenly be caught in a downpour. Good wet weather gear is always essential. Every minute, enough fresh water flows down this mighty river to supply New York City for 60 years. Luckily, Tony knows most people who live along this stretch of the river, and as soon as the rain started, we were welcomed inside for shelter and a drink. But the rain didn't ease up, and we were invited to stay the night. I'm coming to the end of my travels in Brazil, and in a month you can only hope to skim the surface. But the best thing about it for me has definitely been the people. And it's a bit of a shame that my journey ends here, at the mouth of the Amazon, because there's just a teasing glimpse of a completely different Brazil out there.
Thank you.